Welcome to the Travel Show. I've got sitting next to me now Concord Nkabinda, who's a musician, South African musician. He says not specifically jazz. And next to him is Bruce Dennell, who is the arts editor at The Citizen. There you are. I didn't call you gossip compiler. Yeah. So good. We're gonna be chatting to these two guys about the Grahamstown Arts Festival, and we're gonna start off with kind of basics, because a lot of people, it's Grahamstown's in the middle of nowhere.
It is.
It's basically just a university for most of the year. Yeah, for most of the year. And a lot of people don't know how to get there. They don't know what it's about, what it's like when you go to the arts festival there. Because it is in the middle of nowhere, and it is a totally strange kind of experience. When was the first time you went, Concord?
Whoa, probably 2002.
Okay, so you've been going.
Yeah, but I think I've been there for about 8 years or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. And Bruce?
99.
All right. So you're even longer than that.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I had to share a bedroom with an old lady. Separate beds, but it's an interesting story. But these are the stories that come out of Grahamstown, because there's nowhere to stay, and you going. Yes, we've got one more left in our kind of homestay thing.
Yeah.
It happens to be in the other corner of the other room with the 79-year-old. So if that's okay, whatever. I'm hopefully not going to be there a lot. Yes, and they had a dog who was actually a wolf. It slept in a tractor tire. That'll give you an idea of its size. So that was interesting.
Yeah.
So that's Grahamstown for you.
That was your first one, and you've been pretty much consistently ever since then?
More or less, yeah. And upgraded to my own room occasionally as well, which has been exciting.
You've made it when you don't have to sleep with a 79-year-old.
Words to live by. Words to live by, yes.
All right, okay. So, but this is the thing about Grahamstown. Like, accommodation it's almost impossible to find over the fest. It's not something that you just.
It's not impossible. Sorry, it's not impossible. You need to jump in early, as you mentioned off air. But also you need to be, if you're willing to kind of slum it a little bit, it's fine, because as you mentioned, it's mostly a university town, and there are 100 reses.
Right.
And as long as you're willing to sleep in somebody's kind of cupboard plus table plus felt school bed.
Yeah, you say cupboard as if it's a joke, but it literally, like, you can
it.
touch both walls.
Yeah, no,
with
exactly.
your arms.
My advice there would be to get the one next to the boiler downstairs, because it's warmer.
And Concord, where do you stay when you're down there?
In the reses.
Okay.
It's the thing is, you don't need that room for the whole day.
No.
You need it to just go and sleep.
Right.
Because there's shows all throughout. So, and I've found that accommodation actually quite cool. It's almost like you're with a community.
It is,
of people.
Because you end up also in the reses, you have breakfast in the communal dining rooms and so on, and you meet the most fascinating people.
Yeah. And the rooms have heaters.
Oh,
so that's cool.
This is important because it is freezing cold in Grahamstown. I mean,
take a coat.
Yeah, they say either a coat or a bottle of Old Brown Sherry, but
or both.
Yeah, that's kind of.
But I think the weather is partly why Grahamstown is so fun.
Right.
Most people think because it's so cold you can't have fun, but that's the point of it. You're going from one show to the next, and you grab a cup of coffee here, and you meet people, and it's a vibe.
It's also the weather keeps you indoors watching shows. You don't want to be outside in that weather.
Well, exactly.
And your room is terrible, so you want to.
Yeah, and as you said, there's plenty option for shows. I mean, there's what is there, a couple hundred shows there. I mean, it's
higher than that. It's probably close to 1,000 now in terms of all the art installations and the fringe stuff and the main theatre and everything.
Right. Well, there you are. So I mean, there is non-stop kind of an opportunity, and I know that guide, when you look at it, can be intimidating.
It can be, but calm down. I must confess, I over cook it every year. It's massively tempting.
But I think you have to, if you're going to spend all that time and effort getting down to the middle of nowhere.
Right.
You have to make the most of it. You kind of have to go for it. There's no point going for one show a day or.
Sure, absolutely. And also I think, maybe Concord will back me up, but it's depending on what your particular interest is, Concord, as a musician, you'll be going and playing in the venues where the musos are, and you stick around afterwards, you make a contact, you set up a tour, you do all this kind of stuff as well. Right. So for the artists as well, it's a brilliant kind of setup.
Yeah. I think for many years I focused on music because I was a musician, but I realized that I was missing out on a whole lot of other things. I mean, theater, film, dance, installations, all sorts, and even street art.
Yeah.
There's amazing things that you just see by walking in the
Right.
streets of Grahamstown.
By getting lost on purpose.
Yeah.
Well,
It's not that big. You'll run out of town soon. But it's
Well,
fine.
exactly. It's
Turn
four
around and walk
streets
back. Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, it doesn't need to be intimidating. It's not the kind of thing that you have to go for 2 weeks. I think a lot of people these days go for the 2 weekends, or
Yeah,
come
yeah.
on the first weekend or the second weekend, and tends to die for the Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah.
I think as you mentioned with the length of traveling, because you got to go to
Yeah,
PE.
yeah.
You have to go to PE.
Which
unless-
is already
unless-
tragic.
Yes, unless you're driving. And it's bumpy, damn it. It's
Yeah,
windy.
yeah,
It's the windy
yeah.
city. So if you're flying in, you got to PE, and then
Yeah.
there's still a couple of hours drive
Right.
from there. Otherwise, you're driving in, and it's a long way. As you say.
13-hour drive.
Yeah, it's a long way. But you don't want to do that for 2 nights.
No.
You want to do that for a good
few,
chunk of time.
yeah.
And as you say, when you're there, you want to. And the thing is, the shows one by one are fairly affordable. They're cheap.
Yeah, it's 50, 60
bucks,
rand,
50
yeah.
bucks, whatever. But obviously, when you commit to a lot, now you're talking 500, 1,000, and whatever. But again, as a once-off a year, rather do that and skip a few when you get back to Joburg.
Well, exactly, because it's the same shows are running there as will run in Joburg and Cape Town, and
Sure,
they're
and see
generally
them first.
half to 1/3 of the price that they
Mm.
would be, if you come back. So you can probably end up saving some money as well.
Absolutely.
But now here's the thing that a lot of people don't know is there's actually inborn shuttles from
Yes.
PE to Grahamstown. Have you taken them?
I've taken one back, and he was quick.
All right.
Very quick.
Yeah, I was about to
Sir,
say that.
don't be so quick. I'll catch the plane. It's fine. But no, they're great. And there's also little shuttles that still running in town as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I couldn't go last year. We were relaunching the new design of the paper. But the year before they launched
Right.
and there's a bunch of points. So whatever you see a green thing and you go stand there and the green one takes
Right.
you on that route.
So you actually don't need a car. You can fly in.
Yeah.
And it's also, I think if you do have a car, the best thing to do is go and park somewhere in the middle of town and park slightly off the main road because then you don't pay the parking fee.
Right.
But park near the main road and then walk.
Yeah, and charge some artist to put their posters on your car.
There we go. This is a good plan, actually. Yes.
Because the town's always it's a bit crazy. Hundreds and hundreds of posters and hundreds
Absolutely.
of shows and
But High Street, they'll charge you like $8 or whatever to park there. 1 meter from High Street on the perpendicular road, you don't get charged. So
see there
take
you
that
are.
for free.
That's a good tip. It's already got us started. Okay, Concord, we're going to play something by you. Let's see what you're all about. Well done.
Thank you.
There you go. Very, very good. All right. So now we know where we stand when we start discussing what sorts of shows people can expect. What your tips are for the shows of the festival, the ones that you're looking out for. And obviously your biggest tip is the ones you're involved in, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so tell us what
Punt,
you're
punt,
involved in.
punt.
Yeah.
Well, as part of the festival, there's the Standard Bank Jazz Festival,
Right.
which mainly happens at what is called the DSG Hall.
Okay.
And I mean, the lineup every year is just amazing. There's artists usually from Sweden, Norway that are collaborating with South African artists. So there's a whole, if people can check out the program even online.
Yeah, it looks devastating. I mean, it's got some really legendary names there as well.
Yeah.
Every year.
I know they've got Hugh Masekela performing this
Okay.
year, and Lyra, I think.
Right.
But I'm performing with Adam Klasser. Now, Adam Klasser is a South African harmonica player, but who's been living in the UK for many years. So he's going to come and do some of his material. So I'm going to be playing in his band on the 8th
Okay.
of July at the DSG Hall. And he's a very interesting composer, musician, and there aren't many harmonica players actually around. So he's a must-see, I'd say.
He's also he's like a full-on composer though as well.
Yeah.
He's not just harmonicas. You usually think it's like something in a Stevie Wonder tune or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and he pays a lot of tribute to South African composers. So, and then on the 9th, I'm doing a show called Divalicious, which is a collaboration of previous Standard Bank young artists, female artists. I'm not a female, as you can tell. But the band
There's
around...
no problem with females being females though, as far as I know.
Yeah, well, but I'm in touch with my feminine side. Yeah.
Nice.
And a lot of other people's.
Easy, it's visual.
It's getting hot in here. Yeah, but also the band that is supporting these female artists are also previous Standard Bank young artists like Samson
yeah.
Diamond and
Right.
so on. So, and that is on the 9th at the Guy Butler Theatre.
Okay.
The third show that I'm a part of, even though I'm not performing in it, is a piece by Sylvain Strike called Cargo Precious.
Yeah, this is one of them that I wanted to actually talk to you about.
Yeah.
It's really interesting, this one, yeah.
It's a beautiful, moving piece on what happened to Sarah Partsman. I mean, everybody knows the story of Sarah Partsman, but what is not known is what happened during the journey of her being taken from South Africa to England. So what Sylvain has done is what she calls imaginary history.
Right.
So and what they did is they workshopped the piece for a month, the whole month of April, and I was asked to write the music. So during the first 3 weeks of that month, I would just walk in there, sit down, and just watch what they were doing before I could write anything. And then I went away and started writing some material. And the first thing I noticed was that I was supposed to think outside the music box, so to speak. So it's more sound. It's more soundtrack, so to speak. And of course I was nervous when I came to deliver the first music, because I wasn't sure if what they had come up with so far, the music was going to work with. But the first 3 weeks that I spent watching there was quite crucial, and the music actually fitted well with that.
That must be a thrill, eh?
Yeah, and I had never written for theatre or dance before. This is the first time. So
I'm glad to hear you say it's good, because I bought my tickets. I'm going on the 8th of July already. So yeah, that's
it would be awkward otherwise.
be prepared to laugh, but take your tissues as well.
Okay, all right, marvelous. I'm going to touch myself clearly.
You are worst.
I can't help it. All right, yes.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, just because touching on Sylvain Stryker, she's featured director. That's the thing that started now, and it was Mike van Graan. Was he last year or the year before? But anyway, they have a featured director every year now, and Sylvain strikes this year. So two of the shows I'm going to as well of hers are Black and Blue, which is an older show of hers, which is great at the Rhodes Box Theatre. And that, let me just read something for you. Visitor enters, no, that's something else. Set in sheltered suburbia, Black and Blue gently observe the complexities of South Africa's ongoing master and servant relationships. So it's kind of driving Miss Daisy, but not at all, but vaguely.
I think one of the things about Sylvain is that she does different styles. She'll kind of land, so it won't all be very similar stuff. It'll all, you go and watch the 5 players and they'll be totally different to one another.
Absolutely, yeah. And there's another one called, and it's with Andrew Buckland, who's obviously a Grahamstown legend, The Harmful Effects of Tobacco. And the blurb does say, "Don't bring a laptop," which is odd. Now you know. And it includes, it's inspired by Anton Chekhov, Franz Kafka, James Joyce, blah 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 blah. So it's gonna get tricky, but its production marks a long overdue collaboration between Sylvain Stryker and these we're talking about the Young Artist Awards winners. Andrew won that in '86. Right. Sylvain won it in 2006, so they're collaborating there, and it'll be a lot of physical theatre, obviously, with Andrew. So some fantastic stuff there. And
that show's called, sorry?
The Harmful Effects of Tobacco, and Sylvain's raving about it. So it also sounds like it must be a must see. But this is the 30th year of Standard Bank Young Artists this year, and the 40th year of the festival. So. It's all kind of
well, there's some nice anniversaries there, but
reasons to go.
Just hearing you guys talk, I think one of the big things is that there's an opportunity to see people collaborate with other people that they may not have worked with before, or that you, as you were saying, guys coming out from Norway, Sweden, and working with local acts, and
it's like you and Chris. That's very very fresh.
Every Wednesday morning, Lowell's on Balls Radio. But yeah, so that's I suppose an opportunity. Is there's these kind of unique shows and a chance to get out and go and look about. But okay, what not starring you, Concord? Are you going to go and see anything? Are you?
I'm in the process of studying the program, and the program you have to study because it's so massive.
Yeah, it's huge.
But again, I'm not going to lock myself onto music. Now that I've collaborated with Sylvain Stryker on this piece, I'm so keen on exploring dance and theatre. Right. So I'm gonna look forward to exploring on the dance side of things.
So do you just handle the festival guide like an almost random dartboard and that looks good? I like the sound of that.
Yes and no.
Okay.
There are things or artists that I've seen before, and when I see their names again, obviously I want to see them again.
And who are these artists? What are the ones that you'd kind of recommend?
Whoa, I mean,
I'm putting you on the spot here,
yes,
Concord. It's
yes,
time for you to start thinking.
yes, you are. I mean, we were just talking now about Rob van Vuuren
Right.
on the comedy side of things. I've loved his work from
Right.
Docky and Courtney. So whenever I see his name on the program, I know it's going to be something interesting.
Yeah, well, Bruce. I mean, one of the must-see shows from my side, I think, is Three Little Pigs with Rob van Vuuren
Yes,
and James Keynes.
James Keynes, and
Yeah.
they're just bonkers, all of them actually, frankly. And I don't know how Rob stays vertical, because he does Pants on Fire as well all the time, and he's got
Yeah.
What going as well.
Yeah.
So I've seen it. I think it was the sort of precursor to What or the previous version or something. And I saw one Pants on Fire last year, but Pants on Fire is a sort of a kind of improv, bring in guests. And it's usually, it changes during the festival.
Yeah, and it's
So
Rob van
it'll be
Vuuren and Martin Evans host it, but
And
then
then
there's different acts.
somebody
every
who
night.
they saw playing a gig at 2:00 that afternoon is drafted in as a guest, and so on and so on. So it gets kind of out of hand in a fantastic way. And then you guys, obviously, this is not paid for, but Warren and Chris Forrest and Deep Fried Man, that is funnier than them, and I'm booked for that, so I'm looking forward to that. Better be good now.
Oh, good. All right.
No pressure. No, that'll be a hoot, because yes, I think I first met you at Grahamstown a few years ago.
Right, that's right, yeah.
In
2012,
some dark
yeah.
back room somewhere, and it doesn't sound great at all. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Sorry, another tip with that. We're talking about that big wedge of a program.
Yes.
But when you are looking at it, please look at the times that your things are on and how long they run for, because you have to figure out. It sounds obvious, but people book two things, and then one ends at 1:00. The next one starts at 15:15, but it's 20 minutes away. If you're walking or whatever. So you'll know what transport you have and how far things are away. Everything's close, but 15 minutes isn't very long.
I think leave yourself a bit of a
And you
gap is a
can't-
better, yeah.
And also, South Africans, 15 minutes doesn't mean I will arrive at the venue in 15 minutes' time. It means you will be sitting down in 15 minutes' time
Sure.
when the production starts. Please, man, have some
Because
respect.
the productions do start on time. It is clockwork. I mean, they don't. It's
Yes,
not like
yes.
a normal South African thing
No,
where you
that's the thing.
arrive and then 15
And all
minutes
over the
later.
program they say, and I love how specific it is, because obviously films and stuff you can measure exactly, but the theatre stuff, 1 hour, 5 minutes, done. 55 minutes, done, etc., and you gotta respect that, because they've got another show to do. Or I mean, what happens, as you know, with most of the smaller venues, there's 4 or 5 different productions running in there.
Right.
You got to put your setup,
Yeah,
do
get
everything,
in, get out.
get it going,
make sure, yeah.
run. They've got to get on stage in 20 minutes with their whole set and Victorian England setup, and
That's right,
then they got
yeah.
to run, and now we're in space and so on and so on, and
Good.
whatever. So it's
All right, so
tricky.
far we've got Rob van Vuuren shows, Three Little Pigs, Pants on Fire. We've got
Everything by Sylvain Strike.
Everything by Sylvain Strike, largely, yeah.
I mentioned another one. Sorry,
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
Greg Homan. He's another Standard Bank
Okay.
Standard Bank Young Artist Award winner. He's this year's theatre award winner. So maybe you want to see this. And he's doing something called Oedipus at Kunu.
Okay.
So inspired by both Oedipus
Who
and
knows?
the whole kind of losing Madiba and so on and so on.
Right. So
And
it's going to be provocative, you'd think.
I think it will be. It's also he's David Dennis is in it. He does quite a lot of work with Greg, but a fantastic actor, and also he doesn't mind provocative stuff. So it's a playful allegory about the whole political landscape in South Africa and influenced by Oedipus, which is a bit worrying. But especially when we link it to South African politics and the place that sex holds in South African politics. But so I think that'll be a fantastic thing.
Oedipus and Kunu.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Quickly, last words. Any advice, any tips, any shows, anything you want to say? Anything people need to know?
Well, just maybe a reminder of the Divalicious show, which is a collaboration between Sylvain Strike. Not Sylvain.
So, yeah.
Zaan Stapelberg, Gloria Bosman, and Melanie Scholes. There's
Right.
also Hugh Masekela, there's
Yeah.
Lyra, there's Jimmy Lulu, and the list goes on.
Yeah, absolute
This is
legends of
so much
South African music.
Yeah,
yeah.
to see.
Okay, well, there you go.
Right,
Bruce?
the Epicene Butcher, I don't know if you've seen this show.
Yes.
Fantastic,
yeah.
brilliant show. So go see that. That's still running. It was a huge hit at last year's festival. Something in French that I'm going to try and say. It's a Dutch company, I think, but with a French name. But it's a dance thing I might see there. But this will be horrible. And if you're French, I apologize. Les Songs de Nuit d'été.
That
something
doesn't
or other.
sound too bad. That was sounds alright.
Uh,
Who's it
it's-
starring? Give us some other.
No idea, but it's a reworking of Midsummer Night's Dream, but it's huge. It's a big production, so it'll be visually spectacular. It's in the Guy Butler Theatre, and that'll be wonderful. And then also just from my side, I'll be there from the 5th to the 10th and doing a lot of stuff for the paper. So check out City in the Citizen that week. Well, check it out every day, really.
Yeah,
but
on your Twitter account, I would imagine.
yes, and check my Twitter account because I'll be saying lots of silly things on there. That's at Bruce Dennell, BROOSDENNILL. So lots of doubles. BROOSDENNILL.
Yeah, the only person who spells the name Bruce.
Indeed.
Um,
It's only on Twitter. It's my mom didn't call me that, but
Yeah.
there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. And Concord, can people
yeah.
follow you on Twitter? They can.
Yeah, it's at Concord in Kabinde. CONCORDNKABINDE.
Right.
I'm on Facebook as well as Concord in Kabinde.
I've just been followed by Balls Radio. How exciting is that? There you go.
So if you're going to Fest, these are the guys you got to follow if you want some tips on what the good shows are. Look out for Bruce's account particularly. I'm sure there'll be reviews
yes.
fairly regularly through the festival. And hope to see you guys there. If you are, stop by at Funnier Than Them and I'll pretend I don't know you until after the
Nice.
show and you pay
We'll
for your
sit-
ticket.
We'll sit right in the front, yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay.
Awesome, thank you.
Good. So that was the Grahamstown Fest. Thanks for coming in, Concord and Bruce. Appreciate
Absolute
it.
pleasure.
Good having you here.